Hello, hi, and welcome to Where This Is Your Spotlight. I am your host, Eurydice Raman. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. And I have somebody who actually gave me a chance. I did a comedy open mic with his lovely bell system, which means if you get enough bells, that means you can compete for a prize. And it was done at Harlem Nights, of course, on let me see. It's on 137th or 135th?
138.
138 is right there as soon as you get off the 2 bus. If you know what the M2 bus is, then you can find it. And he's a great host, has a great sense of humor. I hope to, learn how to let it roll off and be that comfortable. The one and only that I know of, Mr. Rashad Bashir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hey, folks, how you doing? I got my scarf and
Yes.
my blazer and my nice little shirt. I was shooting a sketch earlier. I impersonate the late great Paul Mooney. If anybody knows who that is, you know what kind of stand up he did, you know what kind of voice he had. So I do impersonations online of him on my IG, post them up, and
Mhm.
people just love it. People just love it. People wanted him to come back some type of way, and I said, you know what? I got the voice down, I got the look, I got the inflection. I was like, let me do this. Let me do this.
So, when did you start doing the Paul Mooney impressions?
This I did during the pandemic. Actually, I was messing around with his voice before the pandemic, and I said, "Oh, I kind of sound like him." And then during the pandemic, when everybody was doing like online interviews like this, I did an
Mhm.
interview with a comedian online. Shout out to the IG bum. I know him as Tino. Uh, if everybody knows who the IG bum is, he was the guy
Yes.
that took a
Yes,
dump
yes, yes.
in. Yeah. So he took a dump in the mop bucket in the train station. He just blew up from there. So he was doing interviews, and he and I, we've been friends for a long time, and we just started talking about impressions. And I did Stephen A. Smith. That was one impression that I did. That was one that I was doing for a while, but I didn't really do anything with it. And
Mhm.
then I started doing Paul Mooney because I had been doing Paul Mooney a little bit. And then he heard me do Paul Mooney before that, and he was like, "Well, what about Paul Mooney?" And I just started doing it,
Mhm.
and I got messages from so many people. I got comments like, "Oh my God, this is great! Yo, you sound just like him." And I was like, "Oh, I could really do this. I could really do this." And then the craziest thing was his son, one of his sons, has an Instagram page that they put up their father's like material, his old pictures and stuff.
Aw.
And they messaged me and said, like, you ever see the like eye emojis like that? So they put that in the comments, and I was like, oh, it sounds like they watching. It
Oh
sounds
no.
like they watching. So yeah,
Mhm.
and then I really brought him back in 2021, where it was when I think it was 2021 and 2022, like early 2022,
Mhm.
where Ti started doing stand up.
Mhm.
I don't know if anybody remembers that. Ti started doing stand up, and I did a Paul Mooney reaction video to Ti doing stand up, and it got like 20,000 views. So I said, okay. I was like, okay, this is a thing. This
That's good though.
this is a thing. This is a thing. But what really
No,
put
but
me on,
that's amazing. And it's hard because like with comedy, it changes all the time.
yeah,
Like one thing, is one thing to do impressions, is another thing to do actual skits, and then it's another thing to create material that people gravitate to and remember you
yeah,
by. Because it's like being a musician, it's like being an actor. You're only as good as your last memorable hit.
Yes.
And it takes a while because you be swinging for the fences for a while, and then you're just like, oh, I'm tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then when you
Yeah.
go away, that's when people start like coming after you, like, what happened? You were doing great. Now is when people want to notice, like I was tired.
Yeah. Yo, you one thing with this comedy, it's very taxing. When you give so much to it and you're giving to the people, you don't have time to give back to yourself.
No,
So it's always good to be going up every day, 4 times a night. But at some point, you got to be able to give your brain a rest. You're like, you know what, I need to chill out.
no, yeah, no, yeah, yeah. So what has been like the longest amount of time that you have gone with like doing show after show after show that you're just like, okay, you know what? Before I snap on somebody, let me take a minute.
There was like a period where I was doing like not just shows. I was also doing open mics. I would do like 4 open mics in a day, and then I would do 2 shows at night.
Oh wow.
So that's going 6 times. That's going up 6 times, 6 times in a day, just to
Oh my
work
god.
out a joke. Yeah, just to work out a joke. And I
Mm-mm.
did that for I did that for like a week straight, and I was like, nah, I can't. Nah, it's not it.
Mm-mm.
It's not it because
Mm-mm.
for some comedian, it depends, and it also depends on the comic. If you have a comedian that's like a writer, like a real writer, I mean, all comics are writers for the most part, but if you have that comic that's like a straight writer, they have to get the rhythm, they have to get the writing down correctly, and they gotta say it on stage the way they wrote
Mm-hmm.
it. So it's like repetition. Well, as far as
No,
me, I
it's
write
true.
material, but then you have those comedians that they write a little bit, but then they perform it.
Mm.
Like we all perform it in a way, but there's a way that some comedians who are like physical to where they write just a little bit, but then they just add their own ad libs
Um,
to it. They'll write one word, but then they'll add like some improv to it. That's kind of like me.
okay.
I do some writing. I for the most part I do writing, but then I add all these other ad libs because the energy of the people reacting to it and laughing to it gives me the courage to kind of like add a little extra to it, add a little bit of more of that, improv flair to it to make it
No,
seem
true,
more
true.
natural.
It sounds like you're describing word association, but yes.
Yeah.
Because you can, as a comic, you can, there's so many different styles. You can't just put one word and then add to it. And then that's the improv aspect. Then you just have people that just write on straight up, like, and also it depends also like your background. Like for example, me, like when you do film and you do like television and stuff like that, there's certain scripts and certain things that plays in your head, and you're like, this is gonna be funny, or this is not gonna be funny.
Right.
Like I have not learned. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I have not learned to, remember jokes. Usually, it's just whatever the heck flies off the top of my head, and I tend to laugh at myself. Kind of to self soothe because I'm in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tougher for me because, like, for example, I have ADHD, attention deficit hyper disorder,
Okay.
and it's sometimes it's like if I write it down, it's gonna feel rehearsed. I'm not gonna feel comfortable, and it's not gonna feel natural. And then sometimes the things that I don't intend to be jokes come out as jokes, and I'm just like, oh, okay, yay, laughter,
Mm. Well,
and
that's you trying to find your voice.
exactly,
Your comedy instincts are kind of all over the place right now.
exactly, and
Once you
that's the
know how
hard
to
part about doing
focus,
that. Yeah, yeah.
right? Once you know how to focus your comedy instincts, you're gonna be good. Some of the stuff that comes off the top of your head won't even be stuff that you wrote down. You'd be like, I don't really need the jokes. I'm doing okay right now.
Exactly, exactly. And also, I have to fight off something called the RSD, rejection sensitivity dysmorphia, which means it's a lot of negative back talk. Like I could think, okay, I'm doing this open mic, I'll be okay. I memorized something, but then the back in the head is like, no, no, you're gonna suck. They're not gonna like you. Why the hell are you doing this? Why are you putting yourself through this? It's not necessary. Da da da. A lot of negativity, and then yeah, I
Okay.
just have to be like, you know what? I'm here. The mic's in my face. I gotta say something and just push through.
Yeah, yeah, and that is tough because as comedians starting out, we all go through that, and
Hmm.
we still go through it. We still go through it.
Oh yeah.
I read a book called Mastering Stand-Up Comedy, and in that book, they call that the voice.
Yes.
That they call it the voice. And sometimes you'll go into a place, and as a comic, you're like you'll hear the crowd laughing, you'll see the comedians telling their jokes and just killing, and to yourself, you're like, I got this. This is gonna be good. But something in the back of your mind is like, I'm gonna bomb. This is not gonna be good. Even when you don't, even when there's not a lot of people in there, and the host isn't like really getting them, and the other comics aren't really breaking through to them. In
Yeah.
your head, you're like, yeah, in the back of your mind, you're like, ah, this is gonna go bad. This is gonna
No,
be
for
terrible.
sure. No, no, yeah, yeah. And it's tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not easy doing it. And it's like if you don't have that one hot hit of a moment or a set, it could take a while. You got to put in that work and you have to be tenacious at it. Because if
Yeah,
you decide to be like, you know what, forget this, forget everybody, that's when the moment comes. And then you're just like, oh, wait a minute. Why did I give up halfway?
yeah, yeah, because you get stuck and you're like, what, where else do I go? But that's why you have to be able to flex that comedic instinct muscle.
Yes.
That's why you gotta, be on. That's why you gotta know how to like do crowd work and riff and be able to create comedy right out of thin air.
No,
Because
absolutely.
sometimes that'll happen, and I've seen it happen. I've been a victim of it, and because sometimes I'll forget a joke, and I'm like, oh, what do I say? And I think with comedians, when we first start out, we want to be liked. So we have this thing where we try to tell our jokes in a way of please like me, please like me. But after a while, you'll realize that gets exhausting. I
Oh,
get
yeah.
tired of pleasing people, and you're going to say to yourself, I don't give a crap. I don't care. I'm going to
It's
say
like,
what
you
I
know
got to
what?
say.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's funny
And
to me. If it ain't funny to you, look, maybe I just put too much salt on the meal, but I'm going to still make the same meal.
he said I put too much salt, like sprinkle.
Yeah, basically. I'm going to make the same meal. I just won't add as much salt. So
Well, you
either
got
you
your
want to
salt and
eat it or you don't.
you got your salt and you got your pepper.
That's it.
So, okay, uh, comedy wise, do you think it's harder? Because I've noticed the difference when I go to when it's a mixed crowd in
Yeah.
contrast to when this is a certain type of crowd. Like for example, is the difference between going to comedy in Harlem, shout out to them by the way,
Yeah. Shout out to
and
Comedy
going
Hall.
to West Side Comedy Club. Is diametrically two different like atmospheres and vibes and flows.
Definitely, I would say yes.
Hmm.
With comedy in Harlem, that demographic is all predominantly black people, folks
Yeah,
from the area,
yeah,
people that come from out of the state. And with a black audience, typically you want to be very quick. You got to be quick. You
exactly,
got to be
exactly.
it's got to be a gatlet of jokes that are funny, making them laugh like every 3 to 5 seconds. You got to be boom,
Yes,
boom, 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 boom.
exactly.
Whereas West Side Comedy Club, or as they say, a mainstream comedy club, and Comedy Harlem is a mainstream. It's a black mainstream comedy club,
Yes,
but with the
exactly.
typical, comedy club like downtown, they let you sit in the pocket a little bit more, as we say. They let you sit in the pocket. They let you build up to it.
Of
They
course,
kind of
yes.
they're there to allow you to tell the story.
And I appreciate that type of environment because, like, for me, when I've done open mics, I've gotten more love in terms of, like we got you. Like when I've done it at the other location, it's been more like and the stuff that's funny over there, I was just like, yeah, this is not comical. This is tragic. I need some therapy. I don't know. I'm sorry to say it that way, but I've gotten my fair share amount of therapy, and I don't think I'm that jaded. But by all means, from an aesthetic,
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, it's like please don't follow me into the bathroom though. Just in case if I piss you off enough, please don't follow me into the bathroom.
Nah,
I will
see,
fight for
that's
my
stuff
life just in case.
you got to understand. Like,
Hmm.
there's different like cultures
Yeah,
in the comedy community. You go to certain places. There's a specific type of culture, people that are there. Different ethnicities, people of all different backgrounds. So if you go into like where those specific groups of people are, you got to kind of relate to them at their level and where they are, culturally. And
yeah, that's
I
true.
like, but the main thing is you have to be able to be yourself in front of everybody.
I know. That's just
You got to be able to be yourself in front of every demographic of people.
that's
Yeah,
true.
you can yeah, you can be like, yeah, I'm different. I'm different. I know that I stand out, but this is me. And if people see that, oh, this, for example, I was in Indonesia for
Hmm.
2 weeks.
Mm.
I'm I was on tour. I'm in a country where I do not know the language.
Oh
I
wow.
am not aware of the culture, and I'm an outsider. So what do I do? I start looking up how to speak their language, or I start making small cultural references. I start taking small cultural references of where they live, and I add it to my set. That
Hmm.
way, I can bridge the gap between
No, which is it's a
two
smart thing to
worlds.
do. Of course. Yeah.
Right. So that's just me. Because I know if I started talking about things that are from like Harlem or from a Black American perspective,
Hmm.
they might not have gotten it.
Correct.
But I said, you know what? Let me take a step outside of myself and
Mhm.
become an infant and start learning, learning these people, learning a new language, and it
Correct.
helped out a lot. So
Which
I
is
said,
good. And
yeah,
listen, you took a risk going to Indonesia. So
look,
we're going to show a little bit of your trip over there, which is interesting.
yeah. First of all, I wasn't paying, so I was like, what? I didn't take a risk. Hey, let's uh let's go. All right, let's
No,
go on this tour. I'm
exactly.
with it.
All right. So we,
Indonesia, ini Rashad Bashir. Ako datang ke padamu untuk pertama kalinya. Dapatkan tiket Anda untuk Jigam Fest. Tiket hampir terjual habis. Dapatkan milikmu hari ini.
oh, wow. You actually learned that much of the language to be able to do that?
Yeah,
That's
yeah. It
awesome.
it was just me. So what I did was I focused on each sentence and I was just drilling it over and over in my head. I
Oh
was
my
drilling
God.
it over and over, over and over, over and over, over and over. So when I come there, they see that I appreciate their culture and I took the time to learn their language.
Oh boy, here we go.
Y'all, let's clap. Yeah.
I'm trying to see why.
Apa kabar? Oh, you ain't know I do that shit, huh?
It's all good.
It's cool, man. I didn't know it. It's people was looking at me and they was like, "Is he from Papua?" I'm like, "No, I'm not."
Wow. That was
Yeah.
better than me.
Come on, y'all. Come on, come on. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna
Come on,
replay
y'all.
this
Let's
again
clap.
because I can't believe it.
Yeah. Apa kabar? Oh, you ain't know I do that shit, huh? It's cool, man. I didn't know it. It's people was looking at me and they was like, "Is he from Papua?" I'm like, "No, I'm not."
Goodness. So that
So
was just a little bit of your time in Indonesia. See, and that showed that you took time, you were super considerate of the culture, and that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Will I be able to
yeah,
do that someday? Who knows? ¿Quién sabe? But
absolutely.
so aside, oh, I have to show this. This is a must. We got to give some special love to the following character that you're doing. Aside from Paul
Oh,
Mooney, he also does a great impression of Stephen A. Formerly, when he used to be on ESPN. I think he's more an independent route, correct? Right?
no, they actually still do First Take. So
Okay,
Shannon
good,
Sharp
good,
stuff.
good. Because they
But he
made it
does
sound
have
like,
his
oh my
own
God, they
platform
let
as
him
well.
go and blah, 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 and rah, rah, rah. And I was like, oh no. So here we go, everybody. I hope you enjoy.
Are a power bottom.
Well, you see,
This should be interesting.
we are all power bottoms. Contrary to beliefs, you can't be successful without being a power bottom because it takes the activation from the bottom to go all the way to the top. Yeah.
That's blasphemy. I've never been a power bottom, power top, power side. I don't even drink Powerade, but I have watched Power. I have watched all 6 seasons of
That's a
Power.
good show, right?
That is a wonderful show. Shout out to 50 Cent. He's out there.
I
He's
love the
doing
show.
his thing.
Yeah.
You know he's coming out with a new series, right?
What do we call it?
It's going to be called Book 4 Revelations Power Bottom. That's
Come
what it's
on,
going to be called. That's what
Come on,
it's going to be
I'm
called.
sorry,
TJ, they're going to
Come
put a part in there for you
Come
right
on,
there.
no, come on. Well, technically, Stephen A., it is blasphemy
Oh, man.
because when you activate the power of the bottom and it goes all the way to the top, it blasts for me. You understand where I'm coming from? I can see that you haven't watched my sermon, The Power of the Bottom. I see the bishop. I ain't gonna lie to you, Stephen A. When the bishop said that line in his sermon, it touched my heart. He said, in 2024, I don't want a church of followers. I want a church of swallowers. Turn to your neighbors and say, I want to be swallowed.
Bishop, let's
Okay, all right.
Oh,
That was great. I'm sorry. How long did
oh,
it take you to do that?
so we filmed so it took us like 2 hours to do that.
Really?
It took us 2 hours to do that because we're we're cutting and then we're editing. We're editing like on the spot.
Okay.
We had a lot of that stuff was just off the top of our head. We just fed off each other's energy. And then, once we got it, we're like, all right, let's say that again, but let's like pause and let's do like a beat. And then it was just like improv magic. It was just improv magic. Like Idris is a great dude because this dude does great impressions. And I fed off his energy, he fed off mine, and we just kind of went with it. And it took us 2 hours because we not only did Stephen A. Smith, but we did like a couple of other characters after that
Mhm.
that we're going to be putting out later on.
Okay. So you've done the open mics, you've done comedy shows, you went to Indonesia. Oh, we have to show Paul Mooney. We cannot leave
Oh man,
him out. I'm sorry. FYI, this is going to be spicy. It's going to be good
very
for YouTube. It's going to be spicy for TV.
yeah.
So hope you're ready. If you're not, I'm sorry. Full disclosure.
I just want you to know that I appreciate you. I just want you to know how much you're worth and everything that you do.
And this is exactly what Jonathan Majors fell for. This is how they got him. This is how they got him. This is the white woman he was looking for. This is the white woman that he had. This was his Coretta Scott Karen. That's the one he wanted. He wanted Michelle O'Hara to be Michelle Obama. I couldn't believe it. And you saw how that went. You know that expression, once you go black, you never go back. But once you go white, you go running right back to black. Ain't that how we go? Ain't that how we go? because that's exactly what he was doing when he was running from that white woman in the street. He was running right back to black, and he ran into something good, Megan Good to be exactly. You're a good-looking man. You have money. You have star power. You're a great dude. Get a black woman. Wake up, nigga.
Hey, Black
Oh,
Queen.
I'm sorry, that
oh
was
man,
funny. Wow.
that was.
If this manages to ever get that person's attention, by all means. Oh my goodness.
And this is the great thing about impressions. You actually have to become the person.
Yes.
You have to become the person from what they think, how they say things, from their mannerisms, all the small gestures, all the small details. And like I said, I'm very dedicated to my art, and I love what I do. I know that I'm talented. People tell me all the time, and I don't. It's not that I believe them. It's just I know it within myself, and I make people believe and make people see that, oh, this dude really knows what he's doing. I'm very confident in what I do. You know,
That's true.
I'm not cocky. I say I'm shumble. Like
You
that's my slogan. I'm shumble.
so shy and humble.
I'm the ish, but I'm humble.
Oh. I was gonna say shy and humble, but okay. So you're
No,
the ish
the
and
I'm
humble.
the
Okay.
ish,
Okay.
but I'm
All right.
humble.
I got it.
Right.
Well,
Like
I like
I'm
to thank you.
talented, and I let the people speak for me. And then
I
I live up to what
I
they
believe.
say.
Well, from one host to another, thank you so much for your time. Thank you
Yeah,
for providing great laughs,
you're very
and
welcome.
keep on going. You know,
Thank you.
one day, whenever that day may be, things will happen. We're gonna manifest we to become as good as we want to be, as bad as we want to be, and be as great as we can be. That's it.
Mm.
That's it.
I manifest every day. I talk into the universe every day for what I want, and I'm living proof that whatever you say, the universe is listening to. Just be ready when it's delivered to you. Be ready for the
No,
challenges.
sincerely.
Be ready to go through it because it's what you asked for, and the universe will deliver. This is the road you wanted. This is the road you wanted.
No,
You better have some good
exactly.
shoes.
Exactly.
You better have some Dr. Scholl's because you're gonna be
Yeah.
walking.
Yeah, for
You're
shock
gonna be
absorption,
walking.
right? Like, ooh.
Yeah.
Well, so again, thank you, immense thank you. All
Oh yes.
right.
You're a Miss Roman. I thank you so much. Thank you from Paul Mooney from above. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.